All right, Jennifer, here's your spread. And so we're going to look at when in time you were, where you were, what you did with the majority of your time, an important day, a second important day, the death, and the lesson learned. And already I can put this card away because we're looking at these ancient times. We're looking at the Atlantis and Lemurian card. And I was getting a pull towards the Lemurian. So maybe this has interested you. Maybe you yourself have heard of this place, Lemuria. It's kind of there's a duality with Atlantis and Lemuria, where Atlantis is kind of thought of as the more aggressive, more masculine aggressive, and Lemurian is more feminine and more passive, or I guess just less aggressive. And so that's what I see for you right here is the Lemurian, which is more community based. Okay, so while I do this, your job is to make connections between your life and this life. So for example, when I say community based, that might be something that sounds really good to you. That might be something that you yearn for, or a lifestyle that you're already living or want to live. All right, that might also be that it's something that you're in right now. You're in community lifestyle and you're actually interested in getting out of it. So it's your job to make certain connections. All right, so let's go into this and see what's happening here. So this is the Life of Leisure card. It says what you do for the majority of your time. And I want to say, because of this more passive communities lifestyle, it's, I think, very much more easier than maybe what you're experiencing now in this life, right? Because this reality, this world is a little more aggressive. And so what I'm saying is, it doesn't mean that you just laid around all day, but what I'm getting is that this life was really easy for you in the sense that you weren't challenged, and you weren't challenged in ways that you didn't even know you wanted to be. And so deep down, you always had this feeling of wanting to maybe get out or push the boundaries in some sense. But because everyone gets along here so well, it's such a working unit, you don't stir the pot. So that's where the Life of Leisure comes in. It's kind of an easy life, but not something that you're exactly fond of. But it's also something you may even take for granted. All right. So I also get the sense that you're female in this life too. I'm getting a female. It's like long hair down past the shoulders, lean, and basically it's kind of vague as far as details go with that, but that's what I'm getting. All right. So let's go to an important day. The first important day here. This card is the move, let's get out card. Okay. So with this card, it can mean many things, right? It can mean that it's time to go, you're fleeing. It can mean getting out of a situation. So I'm asking for the connection to fill me in here and see what is happening. Associated with the Let's Get Out card is the Friends card and a feeling of being torn. Okay, so this makes sense. So what's happening is, because of your feelings here, you are actually considering leaving. You're considering expanding your horizons and doing basically what nobody really has done, and that is you want to get out, but not alone, because the thought of leaving alone is a little bit too intimidating to you. So you do have close friends, and I see especially one close friend who you confide this in, and who at first this friend is like, are you serious? No. And then they listen to you and they think, oh, okay, that actually sounds like an adventure. And I feel like an adventure is not something that anyone here is really used to. And so in your current life, that might also be the case too. You might have a craving for adventure. You might have a craving to go experience things and you haven't yet. And just keep that in mind if that applies to you, that the feeling of maybe feeling closed in, or too many obstacles, trapped, wanting to get out, wanting to travel, see the world, experience things. If that's the case with you and you can't, that's where it stems from, is this, where this community kind of holds you in. On the other hand, in your current life, you might be a great traveler and you might go many places, and the urge to travel can stem from this life. All right? And so there is a feeling of torn, because it's not just your feelings I'm feeling, it's also your friends. Like it's a very like, it's a hard thing to process, first of all, and second of all, to actually make plans to leave. Wow, like that's a big deal. Your family's here, your friends are here, the rhythm and routine of the day is familiar, comfortable, and easy, but you see that the risk in leaving is worth it. So you're making plans on this day, you get your travel buddy on board with you, and you start discussing truly leaving. All right. So, next important day. Okay, this is really interesting. So on this day, this is shortly after this. This is within months of this happening. There are people that come into your community, and they're welcomed and they're brought into the community. And I want to say that these people are, it's not that they're in need, it's not that they need a place to live, it's that they're almost like, it's almost like they might be advanced in their own right, and they're coming to kind of just explore and experience, and so your community does take them in, and they start teaching them their ways, and there's really great, like there's a really good friendship or bond between these new people and your community. And in fact, this is what happens, is you are one of the welcoming parties. You're the one that's kind of showing them around and treating them to how it works, and getting them involved. And in fact, it's almost like the feeling of you take one of them on more than any other, and this guy and you become so close that there is a union involved. We have the spouse card here, and what's interesting is the feeling involved is sorrow. And the sorrow card comes in because this union, it's like a duality union. Like, he wants to stay here and he loves it here, and you see him almost as a way out too, even though there is love here. There's like a really, really nice union here. So it's like you both see in each other what the other desires, what you desire. So he desires community stability, you desire travel and kind of nomadic lifestyle, and that's what each of you represents to each other. And yet your union makes it difficult, because now he wants to stay and you want to go. And so there is that struggle. It's like it's a double-edged sword, right? Because there's love there, and you love what you found in each other, and yet you want to use what you found in each other for a new life, and both of you want the opposite. So it's really a conundrum here. And that's where the sorrow comes in, because there has to be compromise made, like great compromises made on both sides. And I get the feeling that it ends up where you don't go. You really don't go, or at least he'll take you certain places, but not too far, because you always come back to home base. So you don't really get that adventure, even though you get little tastes of it, as you know, when he brings you out and shows you around, you always come back to home base. So there is a lot of compromise. And so that's where that sorrow comes in, because you're not really going with the plan you made with your friend. You're kind of compromising for the love, and it's okay. It's not terrible. It works. It works really well. It's just that you realize you're not really fulfilling your desire to the max. All right. So in your current life, if that's the case where you are compromising yourself, you may be compromising yourself for another. You might be someone who in the past or now compromises yourself or changes yourself in relationships. And that's something that you don't need to do. It's almost like this is like telling you to not compromise yourself and to go for what you really want to go for. You take that risk of even making someone mad or leaving someone in kind of like their own, like what, like wondering what they should do themselves. Like you leave and they might be lonely or whatever it is, but realize that if you go and follow your dreams and do what you need to do, and that involves maybe leaving someone back home for a little while or something, you have to realize that that person is going to be learning their own lessons. It's not your job to take care of everyone, or it's not your job to take care of even like specific people. Like I know a marriage is very important, but if you have a partner, or if you're going to have a partner where they're going to ask you to really compromise something deep in your heart, a dream of yours, you need to go after your dream and realize that you don't need to take care of them. They will learn a lesson in having to let you go for a while, and having to maybe fend for themselves and be alone. Like, there are lessons in everything. So it's not your job to give up your path and your dream and your joys, because it's not your job to take care of other people in that way. It's your job to follow your path and live your truth and follow what makes you happy. That's what this life is all about. All right? So keep that in mind as far as any relationships you have going on. All right. So now we come to the death card. And the death card, this is interesting. What's happening here? Okay, so what I'm getting is that there's an infection. So I feel like it bites you in the butt too, because I feel like when you take one of these outings, on one of these outings you come across, I want to say like something bites you that you're highly allergic to, or you're just like really sensitive to, and it's like almost like a rodent. I want to say like there's a bacteria that you got when some animal or something bit you, and the bacteria spread and infected your blood in a sense. So I want to say that it took a short while. Like, I see like a chronic weakening, like over time, a general weakening of everything shutting down slowly. So until you do pass away from it, and by the time, they realize, oh, it's a bacteria, it's in the blood, there's nothing that can really be done here. So you pass, and I want to say I see you passing. You're not really old at all. I mean, I want to say, like, what the image, because I don't know how long these people lived, but the image I'm getting is someone in their late 40s. That's what they look like. Late 40s, hitting 50. Though still looking youthful in that sense. And so I want to say with this is, in your current life, if you have a fear or a sensitivity of insects or small creatures, or like fear, like almost like a paranoia of being bitten, or maybe you're really like weird about going out in the summer because of the mosquitoes, like if you're very involved with that kind of worry, then it stems from here as well. If you're experiencing anything having to do with your blood, or if you have chronic fatigue, if you feel weak sometimes and you don't know why, this is all stemming from this life, and it's something that you can release. I also want to say something about dehydration. Like, I want to say drink more water. Like, I want to say you really need to drink more water. Yeah, and also you might want to check if something is going on with your body and you don't know what it is. You might want to get some blood tests, okay? And I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying that might be something you might want to look into to see if there's anything with the blood. And through past life regression therapy, like one-on-one, there are amazing results can happen from that. If you realize that certain issues you're dealing with in this life is actually stemming from another life, and it doesn't serve you in this life anymore, all right? So that's something to look into. Oh, honestly, actually, too, with this, what I'm getting is if you might be a traveler, but if there's any trepidation you have in traveling to new places, or traveling to places that you're not aware of what exactly is there, so to speak, you might actually have some feelings of nervousness because of what happened when you went traveling and got bit by this unknown creature. So if that's the case, that's where it stems from, all right? And something you really should get over. It's something that you need to move past in order to just keep fulfilling your life here, okay? And the lesson learned, this is the work hard card. the work hard card is tied in. It's interesting because you have a life of leisure being shown, and then you're given the work hard card, and that's your lesson. And what I want to say is it's not so much as working hard physically, but it's almost like the lesson was to work hard to fulfill your purpose, your mission, your dreams in this life. And you did work really hard. I mean, you took that first step to plan to get out of there, which is a big deal because no one leaves here, right? So that really fed into that lesson. That really helped with taking that first step out. And then when you kind of compromised here, you still worked hard. You didn't just give in and roll over and say, okay, we're going to stay here just like you want. You really fought for him to take you places. You fought to go with him on any expedition. Wow, can't speak today. You really fought hard to go out there and do as much adventuring as you could. So you really did fulfill, I want to say, a lot of this lesson, but a lot of it wasn't fulfilled. And I feel like in this life, how it can pertain to you is to really fight for what you want, to fight for your dreams. Don't back down, don't compromise, don't let obstacles stand in your way, and also don't create obstacles, because there's fears in us that make it so we want to create obstacles to stop us from going towards something that's very risky and scary, but that we know in the end is probably really good for us, okay? So I want to say you can or are on your way to completing this lesson in this life by fighting for yourself, by going for what you want, following your excitement, going after your dreams, okay? Don't back down from it. This isn't the life for that. This life is a life of moving forward and going after what you want. And if that's what you're doing, then you are on the right path, okay? So, there's your past life. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for letting me read you.